Hello. It's afternoon again, and I'm back with another video. This time I want to talk about healing. Now, healing, as you guys know it, is a scam. Unless you're very specifically talking about actually healing something, like sickness, injury, stuff like that. But if we're talking about energy, like all you guys are talking about, oh, I'm gonna heal this wound and that wound. What? Like, I get it. Here's the fundamental problem, right? It's not that there's this wound and that wound and the other thing. It's really just that you have an unwillingness to look and to look directly. And so you, as a way to kind of avoid doing it directly, you create concepts and ideas about what it is, because you can feel it, but you're not looking at it. You have an unwillingness right now to look at it, right? Because you feel like it's too much, you feel like it's too painful, this, that, and the other thing, right? But whatever the reason, and this is what you were perceiving the wound to be. The wound is, and people typically have more than one, right? But the wound is why they're unwilling to look at it. That's it. That's actually it. It's nothing else. It's just, so there's the thing, and then there's the unwillingness to look at it. And so they interface with it through the mind. Like the egoic analytical mind, right? And the egoic analytical mind looks at things ass backwards, right? So basically, the way in which you're trying to look at it, because you have an unwillingness to look at it directly, because pain, fear of pain, fear of pain, it gets like that, right? And so then you start cutting it up and start saying, oh, the wound of money, or this and that, right? It becomes like that. Because the analytical mind, in order to analyze things, it has to cut things up into pieces and like look at, kind of like sediments, or even like, I wouldn't even say like dissecting something. You're really like cutting something right straight down the middle and just kind of looking at everything that's in there. Because you don't have X-ray vision, so you got to cut it. And when you cut it, you're separating it out into. And so then now you have and it doesn't have to get like this, but it becomes like this because people's psychologies are so complex, which is why this feels so difficult, right? Because your psychology is so complex. But it becomes the wound of this and the wound of that, but there's no wound. Not even a little bit. You misperceive it as a wound because it hurts. And your ego says, oh, well, because it hurts, it must be like an open, gaping wound, basically, but one that I can't see. I can feel it, but I can't see it. And so, what your healing is just kind of in little bite-sized pieces. Instead of just taking the swig of the medicine, you're taking it in little micro doses, right? And you're just like. And that's you. That's you. That's what you're doing. And that's your healing. That was a better way. Because whenever you're doing it like that, it's like it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. And sometimes it gets worse, mostly because people psychologically overcomplicate it. And whenever things become psychologically overcomplicated, like that, it's like, think of like a hydra, right? You are literally creating more hydra heads, by not even cutting them off. You're trying to grow actively more hydra heads. But then here's the thing: when you do cut them off, they just regrow, or sometimes they regrow with a vengeance. And so it's and so it's like, and then people fall for the mistake of trying to fight against it and trying to go harder, which just exacerbates the whole thing, and it just becomes this big thing. this big thing, right? But it's not like that. It's not like that. If you would just look, like, let me just say, let's say there was a wound, right? Are you going to deal with the wound by cleaning up a little bit of the blood every time? Like, say there's an open, gaping wound in my neck, like my jugular is open, right? And I'm just getting like a little cloth and like dabbing at it with a cloth. Bro, that's not going to work. So what do you got to do? Got to go straight to the source. You got to go straight to the source. But it's the thing, that's the last thing you guys want to do. Well, that's not true. That's the last thing your ego wants to do. Because you're giving it the means for its dismantling. As well as uncovering the truth. And there's something else, but it's best if you, I don't want to have to say it. It's better if you figure it out. It's more like a, you know, when you have the clarity, it's impossible to get confused. But when you see what the confusion is, it's like kind of absurd. I'm not gonna lie. But the absurdity, when I say it's absurd, egos hear that as an insult. Tell me I'm wrong. The egos hear that as an insult. But it's not. I'm talking about functionally what egos do. They all do it. When you know one ego, you know them all. So if you see your own, you see everyone's ego. You kind of just can see through people. And to the degree of which you see through your own ego is the degree of which you're able to see through the egos of other people. Anyway, that's the video. Peace.